Life has been whispering to you, nudging you toward this moment long before you even realized it. And now, here you are. You didn't stumble upon this message by accident. This is a summons, an invitation to step into the version of yourself that you were always meant to become. For too long, you felt something pulling at you, an unshakable sense that there is more. More to who you are, more to what you can become, more to this life than just surviving the weight of each passing day. You've looked in the mirror and seen glimpses of the person you could be, but something, fear, doubt, the echoes of a past that refuses to let go, has kept you caged. But not anymore. The time for waiting is over. There comes a moment in every journey when hesitation is no longer an option, a moment when you realize that transformation isn't coming, it's here. And the only question that matters is whether you are ready to seize it. You can feel it, can't you? That shift in the air, the tightening in your chest, that fire burning just beneath the surface, waiting to be unleashed. You are standing at the edge of something undeniable. A path that leads away from everything that has drained you, everything that has made you feel small, everything that has convinced you that you are anything less than unstoppable. Because you are. And the moment you accept that, truly accept it, is the moment everything changes. This is not just another message. This is not just another fleeting spark of motivation. This is your call to arms. And it starts now. Have you ever felt the weight of your own potential pressing down on you? Like a fire trapped inside a cage, flickering, raging, begging to be set free. You've carried this feeling for years. This knowing that you were meant for something greater. Yet somewhere along the way, the world convinced you to settle. It told you that dreams are for the lucky, that power is for the chosen, that transformation is for the ones who were born with a path already paved before them. And you believed it. You allowed doubt to sink its claws into you. You let fear whisper lies into your ear. You shrank when you should have stood tall. But I'll tell you something that will shatter every illusion you've ever been fed. You were never meant to be ordinary. There's a reason you felt restless. A reason the life you're living has always felt like a cage. A reason you've never been able to silence that voice inside you that screams for something more. That's because you were never meant to be small. You were never meant to fade into the background. You were never meant to live and die without leaving a mark so deep, so powerful, that the world feels your presence long after you're gone. And now, that moment has arrived. The moment where you either step into your power or turn your back on it forever. This is what transformation feels like. It's not a slow, gentle evolution. It's a reckoning. A war against every limitation that has ever tried to contain you. And if you think it will be easy, you're mistaken. Because stepping into your greatness requires something most people aren't willing to give. Everything. It demands that you shed your old skin, piece by piece, until nothing remains of the person who once doubted, hesitated, and made excuses. It requires that you look every fear, every insecurity, every whispered lie in the eye, and say, "You do not own me anymore." And as you do, something incredible happens. You wake up, and the fog that has clouded your mind for so long begins to lift. The weight that has sat on your chest, suffocating you, starts to fade. You feel lighter, not because life has suddenly become easy, but because you are no longer shackled to the illusions that kept you weak. People will notice the change in you. They won't be able to put their finger on it at first, but they'll feel it, like a storm rolling in before the first crack of thunder. You'll walk into a room, and the air will shift. You won't need to say a word, because your presence alone will be enough. And this isn't arrogance. This isn't ego. This is what happens when a person finally steps into their truth. It's in the way you carry yourself, the way your shoulders are no longer burdened by the expectations of others. It's in the way you speak, not seeking approval, but because your words now carry the weight of conviction. It's in the way you move, not rushing, not hesitant, but with absolute purpose. Everything in your life will begin to change because you are no longer moving through the world as the person you once were. And the people around you, Some will be drawn to you like moths to a flame, desperate to learn how they can awaken the same fire within themselves. But others will fear you, because your transformation will force them to confront their own stagnation. Some will try to pull you back, to remind you of who you used to be, to make you question whether this change is even real. Do not listen. Do not waver. The moment you feel that pull, that is your sign to keep going, because the ones who try to hold you down are the ones who fear what you might become. And what you are becoming, it's something unstoppable. This isn't about waking up one day and deciding to be different. This is about becoming who you were always meant to be. It's about unlocking the power that has been lying dormant inside you for far too long. It's about looking at yourself and finally realizing, that the person staring back at you is not just another face in the crowd. You are a force, a storm, a reckoning, and the world has no idea what's coming. The transformation has already begun. Now, the only question is, will you rise? There will come a moment when you stand at the edge of everything you've ever known. Behind you lies the comfort of the familiar, the place where you played small, where you lived in hesitation, where you allowed your dreams to wither in the shadows of doubt. Ahead of you, a path unknown, a path that demands everything from you, a path where there are no guarantees, no safety nets, no promises of an easy journey. And yet you feel it, the pull, the undeniable force that calls to you, whispering, this is where you were always meant to go. But here's the truth no one tells you. Transformation is not a gentle process. It is violent. It is ruthless. It destroys before it rebuilds. Because the person you are meant to become cannot exist alongside the person you were pretending to be. And so, you must burn. You must set fire to every excuse, every lie, every limitation that has kept you caged. You must watch as the old version of you turns to ash. Every fear, every insecurity, every self-doubt consumed in the flames. And it will hurt. God, it will hurt. Because part of you will cling to that old identity, desperate to stay in the comfort of what's known. But comfort is the enemy of greatness. You did not come this far only to remain the same. You did not endure every hardship, every betrayal, every moment of suffering just to stay stagnant. You came here to rise, and rising requires sacrifice. You will lose people. Those who thrived on your weakness will recoil at your strength. The ones who once praised you will resent you for daring to become something more, because your growth will remind them of everything they refused to become. Let them go. You will lose habits, mindsets, identities that once felt like home. The version of you that sought validation, that lived in fear, that waited for permission. They cannot come with you. Let them die. Because what waits for you on the other side of this fire is something the old you could never have imagined. A mind sharpened like a blade, no longer clouded by doubt. A spirit unbreakable, no longer shackled by fear. A presence so powerful that when you walk into a room, people feel you before you even speak. This is not about becoming someone else. This is about returning to who you were always meant to be. The warrior, the leader, the force of nature that life tried to bury but could never truly destroy. And when you emerge from this transformation, when the ashes of your old self are nothing but dust on the wind, you will realize the truth that has always been waiting for you. You were never weak. You were never lost. You were never meant to blend in. You were built for this. And now, the world will finally see you for what you are. Unstoppable. You feel it now, don't you? That shift, that fire. It's no longer just a distant idea, no longer just a possibility floating in the air. It's real. It's happening. And the moment you've been waiting for, the moment when you finally step into your full power, is now. But understand this. Transformation is not an event. It's not something that happens in a single moment, a single choice, a single realization. It's a war. A relentless, unforgiving battle between the version of you that wants to stay safe and the version of you that refuses to be anything less than greatness. And in war, there is only one rule. You either rise or you fall. No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to hand you the life you dream of. No one is going to fight this battle for you. The people who doubted you, they're watching, waiting for you to fail. The world that underestimated you, it doesn't owe you a damn thing. So what are you going to do about it? Are you going to shrink back, letting fear and hesitation steal your destiny? Or are you going to take it, rip it from the hands of doubt, from the grip of mediocrity, from the chains of your past? Because that's what this is, a battle for your future and every decision you make. And when you fully embrace that truth, when you finally stop making excuses, when you stop letting fear dictate your choices, you will become unstoppable. The energy you put out into the world will shift. People will see it in your eyes. They will feel it in your presence. You will no longer be the person who simply exists. You will be the one who dominates, who commands attention without saying a single word. And that power, it will radiate into every aspect of your life. Your body will transform because your actions will align with your vision. The food you eat, the way you move, the way you carry yourself, it will all change effortlessly. Not because of discipline, but because you are no longer willing to live as anything less than your best self. Your relationships will shift because you will no longer tolerate mediocrity. You will attract people who match your energy, people who push you, challenge you, elevate you. And those who cannot handle your growth, they will fall away, and you will let them. Your purpose will become clear because you will no longer be distracted by the noise, by the doubt, by the meaningless pursuits that once consumed your time. Every step you take will be intentional. Every decision will be made with clarity and conviction. But none of this happens by accident. It happens because you made a choice to stop playing small, a choice to step fully into your power, a choice to say, enough is enough. I refuse to live a life of regrets. This is your moment. So rise and claim the life that is waiting for you. Rise and let the world see who you truly are. Rise and never look back. Because the past, it no longer defines you. The old you is gone. What stands in its place is something unstoppable, unbreakable, unrelenting. You. And the world is not ready for the storm you are about to unleash. Every morning you choose discipline over comfort. Every moment you silence the voice of self-doubt. Every time you push forward when your body, your mind, and the world itself tells you to stop. That is how you win. There will be pain. Growth demands it. There will be moments when you want to quit, moments when the weight of it all feels unbearable. But listen to me. Pain is temporary. Regret is forever. The only way you lose this war is if you surrender. And surrender is not an option. You've already come too far. You've already endured too much. You've already survived things that should have broken you. And if you survive that, you can survive this. But survival is not the goal anymore, is it? No. Now you dominate. Now you take everything that was meant for you. Now you become unstoppable. Because when the dust settles, when the battle is over, when the old you is nothing but a distant memory, only one version of you will remain. The version that won. There comes a moment in every person's life when they stand at a crossroads. A moment when they must choose between remaining in the comfort of the familiar or stepping into the unknown, the place where growth, power, and true transformation lie. That moment is now. Right here. Right now. And the choice before you is simple. Continue as you are, burdened by hesitation and doubt, or rise. Rise into the strength that has always been inside you. Rise into the person you were meant to become. For too long, you've been waiting for the perfect time, waiting for the right sign, waiting for someone to give you permission to finally live the life you were destined for. But here's the truth. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you the life you desire on a silver platter. It's up to you to claim it, to seize it, to fight for it with every ounce of your being. You were not put on this earth to be passive, to shrink yourself into the shadows of fear and uncertainty. You were meant to take up space, to stand tall, to carve your name into the very fabric of this world. And the only way to do that is to break free from the chains that have been holding you back. Those chains are made of lies, lies that have been whispered to you since childhood, by society, by people who feared your potential, by your own doubts. They told you that you're not enough, that you're too weak, that you're too old or too young, that you don't have what it takes, that you're destined to live a life of mediocrity, just barely scraping by while others thrive. But those voices, they are wrong, every single one of them, because within you is something unstoppable, a force so powerful that, once unleashed, it will shatter every limitation, every false belief, every barrier that has ever stood in your way. That force is you, the real you, the you that has been buried beneath years of conditioning, self-doubt, and hesitation. But now, that version of you is clawing its way to the surface, demanding to be seen, demanding to be heard. You feel it, don't you? The restlessness, the deep knowing that you were meant for something greater. That's your soul calling out to you, begging you to wake up, to stop playing small, to step into the life that has been waiting for you all along. And yes, the path ahead will not be easy. Growth never is. True transformation demands sacrifice. It demands that you shed the old version of yourself, the one that accepted less, the one that settled, the one that made excuses. That version of you must die for the new you to be born. Think of the phoenix, engulfed in flames, burning to ash before it can rise again, stronger, more powerful than ever. That is the journey you are on, and right now you stand in the fire. Will you let it consume you, or will you let it forge you? This is the moment where you decide. No more waiting. No more hoping that things will change on their own. It's time to act. It's time to take back control of your life. Start by looking at the thoughts that have been poisoning your mind. The excuses, the doubts, the fears. Drive them into the light and destroy them. Because the only thing standing between you and the life you desire is your own mindset. The way you speak to yourself, the way you view your own power, it all shapes your reality. You are not weak. You are not helpless. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are a force of nature.